What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Hope everybody enjoyed their 4th of July weekend. I took a weekend off from the kitchen, so we're back at it tonight. Tonight's another chicken brine. I'm using boneless, skinless chicken thighs again. So the main component is leftover pickle juice. So using a lot of pickles for burgers, dogs, all that type of stuff. So this doesn't have to go to waste. It has a good use. So what we're going to do is we're going to brine the thighs for about an hour or two, and then I'm going to cook them the same way I did last week with that cilantro lime chicken. Get a sear going on the skillet, and then throw it in the oven to finish it off. So I got about a pound of chicken, maybe a little bit more. So to start, I'm just going to give a pretty simple. If I took that cap off, that salt shaker, but pretty simple rub of salt and pepper to start. And for the mix, I'm just going to use all this brine. Throw it in there. And usually when you brine poultry, there's a sugar component. So I'm going to use my brown sugar, about a tablespoon, but there's no set amount. But I wouldn't go too much more than that. So you want to give this just a little stir to make sure that the sugar gets dissolved into the brine before you drop the chicken in. So there's not much. So what we're going to do is we're going to let it brine, and I'm not going to rinse them off. Like sometimes people rinse off the brine, but I think that loses too much of the flavor. So what I'm going to do is take them out and just pat them dry with a paper towel. So by letting it sit in there for a while, that brine will get embedded in there, but it won't be like overpowering when you eat it. So, the other thing, I'm going to sprinkle this with a touch of cayenne pepper. So just going to get all these in here, and to make sure that they get weighted down, because you want to make sure the brine gets into the chicken in all parts. So you can get like a paper plate and a bowl just to keep it weighted down. This is pretty DIY, kind of MacGyver type deal, but that plate's a little too big, so I'm gonna get something a little bit smaller. This bowl should do it. There we go. So I'll show you here. The bowl keeps it weighted down, so the chicken will stay in the brine. It won't float to the top. So just leave this in here. I'd say at least 90 minutes, but if you got more time can't hurt. And what we're going to do is coat the skillet with my holy trinity of salt, pepper, olive oil. We'll pat them dry, maybe do a little bit more cayenne before we sear them. And that's it. Stay tuned. We'll be back. All right, so we're back. Our chicken has been brining, so now it's time to pat it dry and give it a little bit more cayenne before I put it on the skillet, which has been going at a medium-high with olive oil, salt, and pepper. Do it the same way I did the cilantro lime chicken. You want to get a sear at medium-high for about 5 minutes aside. And then you put the whole thing into the oven at about somewhere from 350 to 375 for maybe 12 minutes or so. So this, by patting it dry, you don't want to overwhelm your guests with that pickle flavor. That's typical with brines. You do a rinse or a pat dry before you cook. Because it's a very strong flavor, so if you don't do this, it can be overwhelming. So just pat that dry. And then we're going to put it on the skillet. So sometimes with these boneless, skinless thighs, they can kind of open up and butterfly like this one. So just make sure the whole thing gets cooked so nothing gets underdone and everything cooks evenly. So as usual, be careful. There's going to be a lot of splatter here. Just let that go. Let it get cooked nice and good. I'm just going to put this on a bed of spinach, but this will be good with potatoes, rice, couscous, quinoa, anything like that. To each their own. So stay tuned. We'll be back. All right, so we're back. So this has been going on the skillet stovetop. You can see it's got a nice sear to it, but it's not like steak. You got to make sure it's cooked all the way through. That's why I'm going to throw it in the oven. Just to finish it off. And as I did with the chicken last week, just turn it halfway through. 375, 350 to 375, 10 to 12 minutes. So I'll be back when we're plating up. That's it. All right, so we're just about done. So before you put it on your plate, I would just give it a quick, just let it set on some paper towels or parchment paper, whatever you got. Because these are thighs, and this is the same thing with my cilantro lime chicken. You could use any part of the bird, but thighs being more affordable, more juicy, tougher to overcook. They're my preferred part of the bird, but there is more fat, so just give it a quick drain on a paper towel before you serve it. So you can see they got a really nice good char here. That's what we're going for. You get the flavor of the brine, but it's not overwhelming, like we were saying. It's what we're going for. So I might have one of these for lunch tomorrow. These are actually pretty big. So there we are. It's our pickle brine chicken. You know, when you eat up all your pickles, you still got the juice left in the jar. It doesn't have to go to waste. Not only can you make a pickleback martini like I did a while back, you can also do a pretty good brine for some chicken. So everybody have a good week. See you tomorrow.